Affinity Photo can be used to create all kinds of effects, maybe a pencil effect or an emboss effect like this. How to do this in Affinity Photo, PC or Mac? It's really easy. Here's an image. First thing I do is I'm going to duplicate the layer. So layer and duplicate. Once you've got that, you can then apply the effects to that duplicate. So you can leave the other one totally untouched. And I'm going to go with filters and blur and Gaussian blur. But you can use other blurs as well to create even more unusual. Box blur is really good for all kinds of unusual line effects. So there you just set the radius, put it to about, say, 8.3. And once you've done that, you can then apply another filter, filters, detect, and detect edges. This one's always a weird one. It does create a very odd effect. So detect edges, you think, that's not much use. I don't want that. But it does actually enable you to use that with the emboss as well. So filters, and then down to colors and auto levels. So that's the first step. So you get that instead. Then filters, and then down to colors and down to emboss. And emboss, you get that by default. It's a real weird default, but that's the default. And then you can just drag. And as you drag, you can see go different directions, and you can get some really extreme effects. But you can also just apply it very subtle, just a little bit like that, to get something like that. Slightly blurred, slightly weird emboss. Now what I want is the monochrome. I don't want the color. So I'm just going to go with monochrome, turn that. So you can see you get a black and white sort of chrome effect that you would see in Photoshop very quickly. And click apply. And now you can combine this with the original image as well. But also you can change the blending mode for this. So go over here to the layers. Instead of normal, you can run through, and you can see as you run through these, create some very interesting, unusual designs. And you can go all the way down, and I'm just going to go for contrast negative, which I think creates a very interesting sort of, 90s pencil sketch thing. I've seen quite a few images like this. However, I don't like the fact that it's in the negative. Well, you've got contrast negative. It would be nice if there was just the contrast, and maybe there is, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go with contrast negative. Negative. That is negate, I should say. Say negative. Negate. Okay. Well, what you can then do is go to layer, and this is the one I do anyway, merge visible. So it's merge visible. You've now got this layer above. And then you can go to layer and invert. And now you get this pencil sketch effect. Real nice pencil sketch effect, which you can then manipulate. You can also combine it with the underlying image. So let's just go here to layers. Now I don't want this one. You could try it. Let's just try it. You could go here, say darken. You can go through these and you can see that's combining with the underlying embossed image, which doesn't always look great, but you might find some interesting combinations. I always like to experiment with these, but you can always turn it off. So turn that off, and then with this you can just go through here, maybe go for darken, and you can run through again. You can find sometimes with some of these like pin light, maybe not difference, maybe average, and so on. You can find some very interesting combinations that creates a bit of color with this as well. But you can also go with normal and just simply go to the opacity. So let's reduce that down a bit so you can get some of the color of the image like that, but you still got that pencil effect as well. But also what you can do is you've got this here. I can remove it, and I've got this background. I can bring this back in again. I don't want contrast negative at this point. I'm just going to go up here to normal again. And with normal, I can apply a blur effect to this. So let's just go to layer and again, merge visible. I just want to merge it visible into a new layer. So new layer, this is all put into one individual layer. Now what I can do, I can go here, filters, maybe apply a blur again, Gaussian blur, or any of these others as well. Great combinations of different ones. I think motion blur is great. Box blur is particularly good. But Gaussian blur, I'm just going to go with a little bit of Gaussian blur, and you can see the effect there. Just a slight blur, maybe 7 or 8. You don't want to push it too far. You've got that. Click apply. And then you go to filters, and down here, detect and detect edges. Maybe try these ones as well. Horizontal edges. They create some interesting designs as well. So detect edges, and then you've got that. filters, and then you can go down here again, colors and auto levels, and you get that. And you can see you can build up some really interesting combinations to create some quite unique visual effects. And let's just again go through here, blend modes. You can see as you go through darken, multiply, you can create some, again, very odd chrome embossed looking designs very quickly. So embossed is a great filter, but it can be combined to be not a singular effect. You can make it also very extreme. But again, you can run through these. You can see this one, linear lights, creates a nice sort of multiple line effect, and so on. Contrast negative again creates a very weird, surreal negate, I should say. I always say negative. Contrast negate. However, what you can also do, again, go up here, normal. You can merge this into a single layer as well. That's quite, but you can also now go to filters and down to colors and then down to emboss again. So this time emboss, and then just drag this, and this time you get this very intense line work design. So you can still make out just about the visual characters, obviously depending on the image. Depending on the image, you can push this maybe too far. Now you don't need the monochrome at this point because of course it is totally monochrome, and click apply again. Now you could do this on maybe multiple layers and then combine all the layers. So you might apply it once or twice or 3 times to build up a whole real complex line design effect. Exactly the same as before. If you want, you can always go here. Let's just run through that one so you can see that combined with that underline effect as well. And you can see there a very chrome-like effect with difference. So you've got difference and that metallic effect. Let's just remove that so you can see that's the emboss effect there. But now with that pixel layer combined, you can now see you get a very Photoshop chrome-like effect quickly created. And then you can also say, you know what, let's just go for, deselect that one. And now you can see you get the colouring. And you can go through, you don't have to use that one. You can maybe go for overlay or lighter colour, colour dodge, or a whole load of different options. Just try them out. Maybe contrast negative, which I think creates a quite interesting pencil sketch, especially in the inverted form. So again, if you want to get the inverted form, all you need to do, layer, and again, merge visible, creates another layer, and then layer and invert. And you've got that sort of unusual pencil sketch effect in Affinity Photo. Hope you found this of interest. Any questions about the various effects created using the emboss? I think the emboss filter is a very powerful filter, especially combined with the edge detection and also a bit of blurring. And I didn't go through the blurs, but you can use it with radial blurs, all kinds of other blurs. Box blur especially is very good. A like or dislike, always appreciated. Also, please subscribe to the channel, and also some comments about whether you'll be using these blur effects. Do you find that it would be nice to have some pencil effects in Affinity Photo or not? Of course, people don't always want to extend more and more filters. It's nice to be able to have a sort of macro that you could use to create all kinds of effects from any image and then apply it to, I say, any photo you've got. Bye.